But you're right. Those cups from BMO Field. I mean, the beer is extortionately priced, as it is anywhere, and it's an embarrassment, and it's a hill I will die on one day, because it is a fucking disgrace what stadiums, arenas charge for alcohol. But the metal cups you get are worth the money, because, like you just said, Jimmy, you can use them in the morning for water, you can use them around the pool later in today. They're just a well-used, resilient cup.
Do they go through can you put them in the dishwasher?
Jimmy's jock.
They're easy to clean.
like Jimmy's jock.
Unlike Jimmy's jock.
A well-used, resilient cup.
It's Footy Prime. I missed all the fun this weekend. I'm so upset about it, by the way. Canada, Ukraine, 4-2. But most importantly, and we'll get to the game a little bit, but most importantly was the celebration of the 2000 Gold Cup heroes. The last team in the men's side to win anything. Jimmy and Craig were there, parading out in their lovely tracky tops. Looked amazing. And hanging out with their mates. Hey, Craig, tell us, like, you haven't probably been together with these guys for, a very long time. Was it like nothing had passed between 2000 and 2025? Was it just a bunch of old mates getting back together again?
Yeah, no, it was like time stood still, except for the gray hair, the bald head, the extra pounds a few guys are carrying. But other than that, they looked exactly the same. It was a great day. We missed you, Sharms. We really did. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I saw the pictures. Looked amazing. They did. So, Jimmy, were any emotions seeing all the lads together again?
Do you know, it was great to see everybody again. And it was kind of like we all just picked up where we left off. The banter was there right away. And, everybody's still the exact same characters. Nobody's really changed. And it was really nice. I know the big man, he ended up getting a little bit emotional about it, which he always does because he's so passionate. So we were all there to cuddle him and stroke his back, make sure.
Are you talking to big man Carlo?
No, not that big man. I'm talking height-wise.
Okay.
It was the highlights when they put the highlights on the screen of the Gold Cup, some of the memories and stuff like that. That was like, wow, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And we see these guys. It's not that we haven't seen them, but you see them individually, you see them around. But to have the whole group together again was really special. It was great.
Mob mentality. You'll get together. You'll feel a little bit braver. The insults are a little bit easier to throw out and to receive as well, I'm sure.
But it's funny though when you realize you're getting older when you say, oh, let's go out. We'll go out for dinner. We'll have a night out. And by 11:30, everybody's leaving.
Well, it was a long day. It was a long day.
Yeah.
But I stayed out till that was the last one there.
Atta boy, Craig. But you don't drink. That's pretty why.
Yeah, some friends showed up. Kevin Lev and Nikki showed up. So,
How did Footy Prime fare? How was that? You guys were press box Footy Prime for most of the game, right?
No, you'd think we lasted. Dubs was coming down from the NSL, calling the NSL game, and so JC and I got there around 3ish and had to grab her accreditation because they wouldn't have given it out. So we did, which they were nice enough. 317. Thank you. That's when we got there. We received her accreditation, and as soon as Dubs finished the NSL match, she gave us a holler. We met her, and we went over to the Alumni, the 25th Alumni, I guess the corner suite, and it was beautiful. Great food, some cookies and some beer and some drinks. And they really treated Canada Soccer. It was a top-notch, top-class approach to celebrating the 25th anniversary of this team. It was it was classy.
I think you got to give credit to Richard Scott as well, who organized it and connected everyone together, and the rest of the staff that helped out. It was first class. It was really, really special moment for us, and you hope they continue doing this, with the alumni, with the men and the women over years to come, because it was it really is remarkable when you get acknowledged for work that you've done in the past, and the appreciation was great to see. It was really an emotional day for everybody. So well done.
And it was nice that they were 3-0 up at half as well. So guys like Paul Stalteri was able to feel comfortable coming to join us, because if they were losing, he was going to come out. But it was just the perfect situation for everybody. Was pretty much buzzing at halftime, and the team was playing really well. It was good all around. And
they actually, Sharms, they didn't mind us coming. They made a couple comments. How'd you guys get in here? But Craig just said, "Hey, come on down. I'll get you in," basically he was saying. And we're like, well, do we trust Forrest? They might ask us for ID right at the little gate. And they didn't. And they were like very happy to have us there. And we met so many different people, which was great. I think like Dubs for the first time met a lot of the players.
Yeah. Yeah, I was saying that Waddy has like a Clark Kent Superman thing going on with his glasses, because I never met him before. And then he was on the pod and had his glasses on. And then I saw him without his glasses. Like, I think that's Mark. I'm not sure.
Right.
But yeah, it was really good to meet all those guys. And like, I don't know if it was you that said it, Jimmy, or Forrest, like that mob mentality where everybody gets back together. It feels like no time has passed at all. And then Peter Agruso, Canada Soccer's president, wanted to go down and say hi to the Voyagers. And so we were happy to accompany him, go down and see Claudio and Dave DeCola and all those people that we know down there that are familiar to us. So we took the Footy Prime mob mentality coupled with the 2000 Gold Cup winning team mob mentality, brought that to the Voyagers section. And then again, I mean, Jimmy obviously walks around there. Everybody knows who he is. Same for
Charlie.
Forrest. Very much a big time Charlie, just like that big fucking bird at that end of the stadium as well, right? I liken Jimmy's swagger when he walks around Bebo to that big metal bird. But there's a lot to unpack there. Yes, exactly.
Hey, don't get it wrong, because you were right behind me waving to everybody.
Well, I was going to say. So we get down there, and I've told the story of being in there when Canada was playing Honduras and people asking for photos with Forrest. I'm like, hey, you guys, what about me? Nobody gives a shit about who I am, right? But we get in there, say hi, and people are recognized, like Corey Brady and like some other people who are down there, like saying hello, introducing us to his kid, and just a great environment there. But people embracing us again, recognizing who these two guys are, and Jimmy and Craig, but like Footy Prime, very much kind of front and center. And as we left, there was a little Amy Walsh chant. And I was like, guys, you know who I am? This was great.
We never heard that because we left.
Yeah. That's why
you guys missed it. You missed it. They were chanting my name.
That was only because you're on the podcast. That's why.
Well, this is the thing.
It's incredible how many people listen to the podcast. You know, we were walking down and everybody's saying hello, and we listen to the podcast. We listen to the podcast. We love it. So it's great that there's so many people that are there and that love the podcast. But I think, for the fans, it was a great day for them as well, because the weather was beautiful. We've got a national team.
Wow, yeah.
Unbelievable at the moment. You could just see that they were really enjoying the day of football. It was brilliant.
So even though it was partisan Ukrainian, they were very much Ukrainian Canadians. So they were Canadians who knew about Canadian soccer and Canadian podcasts. And they may have been wearing the blue and yellow, but there was some red in there as well. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. It was pretty emotional. The national anthem was obviously emotional for Ukrainians and the background for that, but they were also singing the Canadian national anthem too. It was excellent. It was excellent. I was somewhat surprised, though. Don't want to get into the negatives here, but I thought that there would have been more people. I thought there would have been more people there. I was surprised that there it wasn't sold out, or with this team that we have right now, and we got world-class players. And if TFC were buzzing and they were doing well, that place would have been sold out. I find that very, very strange, but there you go.
Yeah, well, it's a work in progress. Shall we say that, Craig?
Yeah, we are a work in progress.
Yeah.
That's a nice way to put it.
There's some good things happening. There's some really good things happening. And let's leave it at that.
Yeah.
Because I could go down a path, which I'm not going to. I just had great mind-numbing paralytic FOMO during the weekend, that's for sure. It's like,
did you?
God damn it. Yeah, of course. Anyway,
Carlo Corzine came out and he was saying, I wasn't sure I was going to come out because it came late and all these different things. But he said, you know what? My wife told me I'm going to regret this if I don't go.
Mm-hmm. Dubsy, is your mic working? Talk.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it is. But
the last 2 times it cut out.
Yeah.
We missed your most recent contributions to the podcast.
Yeah. But and while we're talking about this match, I just want to, Dubs alluded to the people, but the Footy Prime group who was there, our supporters, Claudio, DDC, Annie, Corey, and Raheem were there. And also a shout out to Blair and Nav, who, one of the reasons why we do this podcast isn't just to build community, but to get beers bought for you. So, Blair and Nav, thank you so much. Waddy bought a round. I think I bought one round at one point, but yes, thank you for the rounds of alcoholic beverages. It was quite thoughtful of you and really appreciate it. So thanks. And I got to introduce them to Blair, to Jimmy, and Jimmy is in Blair's dad's pub basement. There's a big picture. Yeah, they took a picture with TFC when Jimmy first arrived. So Blair's
dad. I have clothes on, by the way.
Yeah.
I have clothes on in that picture.
That's right. But it's interesting how the lives are touched, right, by networking and just building community. I find that really, really cool and such an enjoyable time going down to the supporters group.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, like Craig mentioned, it was a great performance by Canada as well. Looked really good. Tajon Buchanan was I guess for me, the story. I know Promise David scored, played a half. Luke Defoe-Jarrell was really good at the back, but Tajon looked like the Tajon of World Cup qualifying, of the World Cup, that era, pre-leg break Tajon. He was fantastic. And how important is that going to be for a Promise David, for a John David, throughout not just this He Believes Cup, but the Gold Cup as well? Exciting times, I think, Craig, seeing Tajon back to, let's be honest, he was back to his best.
Getting back to his best, healthy, as sharp as ever. That first goal, the whole setup of it, the nutmeg on the corner, pace. They did when they break. Right? A swagger, like fantastic. And the ball he delivered, like from where he was in the box, to be able to just dink that up into a position for players to come on and attack it was just top drawer. And then the header for the second one for Jonathan David was as good as it gets. The guy just can't stop scoring. It's just really, really impressive. But we can't forget, though, that there was moments in that early parts of the game where Ukraine had a couple really good chances. Max made a great save coming across the goal, made it when he spread himself. And then there was a chance he was going to get lobbed, which wasn't executed all that well. The player should have done better. He made a really good save off that. Max played very well. So we 4-0. We were even saying didn't feel like a 4-0 game, and then they potted a couple, which was great for the Ukrainian fans as well. The place was just on fire at 4-1 when they scored. It was super, super loud. So it kind of felt good for them that they got a couple goals at least. It was good for everybody all around.
I think it was Jamie Knight-Lebel post-match. I think it was him who was asked about the game, and he was just focusing on the fact that they gave up 2 goals, and it's not good enough. I love that. This is a guy, enjoying his first minutes with the Canadian team, basically, young guy, and not focusing on the win, but the fact that, man, we give up 2 goals, Dubs, and we have to be better than that. That's a great mentality.
Of course. Is my mic okay? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, that's what you want if you're a coach and you're building that culture and you're kind of layering on the expectations and setting the bar and setting standards. So obviously you want these younger kids to come in and not miss a beat. So I know we're going to get to, the big questions for Jesse Marsch ahead of 2026, but that's what comes to mind to me is that you rotate heavily when you've just announced a really star-studded, talent-heavy Gold Cup roster. And you know that you're missing some big guns either due to injury or otherwise for this Canadian Shield tournament, right? And you can blood new players like a Promise David, or you can insert a Luc Defoe-Jarrell or a Jamie Knight-Lebel, like 2 very different center backs, but teenagers next to one another and still thwart a European opponent like the Ukraine. And I would agree with Craig about the beginning of that match where they had their chances. They put Canada under pressure. I think they They showed where Canada was vulnerable. I think the structure was sound and it was organized and it was together. But on those long diagonal switches, I think you saw that there was space to exploit for the Ukraine. I think Seeger and Fougerolles had some sort of spacing issues that they needed to sort out. But I really loved Fougerolles, the way that the Ukraine came at them, put him under pressure, and he was so composed, he was so steely, so calm, where if he didn't have like the short outlet pass to the side for Seeger, or if he couldn't connect to like a Promise David, providing that outlet a little bit further up the pitch, that he was breaking lines on the dribble. So, I mean, that is exactly what you want. So it's just to get those young players in there to test them, but to see that they're rising to the occasion and doing exactly what is required on the day. Like, that's got to feel good from Jesse Marsch's perspective. But to go back to your original question about Knight LaBelle's comments, like, obviously the players are drinking the Kool-Aid. Everybody's on the same page. And I think in a way of performance too, which is really exciting.
So let's get to the big questions. Now, I know there's a Gold Cup coming up. I know they got a chance for a trophy on Tuesday. Could have it before even taking to the pitch if the Kiwis drop points earlier in the day. But listen, it's for the World Cup. What are the hardest questions for Jesse Marsch to answer? And then we'll perhaps revisit these in a couple of weeks' time and as we get closer to the World Cup. So I know we all have some here. Let's start with you, Craig. What's Jesse Marsch's hardest question ahead of the World Cup?
Well, I would say from a goalkeeper's perspective, who's going to end up playing in goal? Who are you going with, Jesse? I mean, I don't really honestly think that he knows at this moment, which is fine.
Is that fine?
Oh, absolutely fine. When you got goalkeepers that are challenging and competing for that position, and you still don't know who the best goalkeeper is, and you've got two that are just nailing it, really playing really, really well. Max Crepeau just shows up every time for Canada and plays extremely well. He's never let us down. Made a whole bunch of saves on the weekend again. I was texting with him a little bit. He's excited about it. He says, nothing like these games. Nothing like these games. Like, it's just, especially when you play that well. So it's going to be a difficult decision for him who gets that start come next summer.
Forrest, even though Crepeau always shows up for country, there's never a doubt there. So I think Marsch knows that as well, and that's a tick in the pro column for Crepeau. Do you think that his current club situation, even though now he seems to have wrested the gloves away from Pantemis, do you think the style that he's playing there, do you think that's hurting him? Do you think he should be not better off, but maybe looking for somewhere else to go, even if it's within MLS?
Yeah, I'm not sure the style. I think the situation there, I mean, remember, Pantemis is playing really well too. Like, he's challenging for his club position, and even internationally, Pantemis could be involved down the road somewhere. You know, I can see that. So it's nice that there's a competition. Unfortunate that they're both Canadians trying to get that position in Portland. But I'm not sure about the style. I don't think that's the problem with it. With just whether or not he's got to be somewhat concerned, Max, is making sure that he's playing on a regular basis. Because next summer, if he's coming into that, if he's not playing for some reason, if Pantemis has taken that shirt from him, that will be certainly a factor for Jesse and who he decides on who he plays at that moment in time. If Dane Sinclair, he seems to be a solid number one for Minnesota. So that doesn't seem to be a problem for him. But the Portland situation is different.
Are we just dismissing Tom McGill's place here as well? He's always in the squads. Brighton player, obviously on loan last year. Probably get loaned out again this year, I would think. But he's been on the bench for Brighton. He's not really mentioned as being in that mix along with Dane and Max Crepeau. Is there a chance for him to assert himself and be in that conversation before the World Cup?
Certainly, if he's to get into the squad.
Yeah. But,
you know, he's at a Premier League club, but he's not a Premier League goalkeeper at this moment. He's not played in the Premier League. He's gone to Basington, Milton Keynes, great clubs for development, and he's doing really well. He's 25 years old. But I think he's just in that position underneath those two guys that we're just talking about, that challenging for the number one spot come next summer is probably a little bit too far for him. But World Cup's down the road, 30, absolutely. That's got to be something that he's eyeing up for sure.
Is there a move for him, Jimmy? Do you think even would Tom McGill consider MLS? Because he clearly works for the guys above him right now. Could he get a move to MLS, become a starter perhaps, and make his way? Or do you think his best route at 25 is to stay in Europe?
Well, if I'm him, I'm staying where I am right now. I'm at Brighton, a brilliant club, gaining valuable experience, and I'd be pushing for a first team opportunity and trying. He's been on the bench, and it's difficult for goalkeepers because you've got to wait more or less for that goalkeeper to get injured, and then you're going to get your opportunity, right?
Yeah,
it's not like an outfield player. You know, if you play bad, you come, and it's not like that. It's a completely different ballgame for goalkeepers, and it's all about patience and waiting for the opportunity. So,
and he's doing well, and taking those loan opportunities are really important, and gaining experience from playing at different clubs, different systems, and performing very well.
Okay, what's happening?
Why are you two laughing?
What are you laughing at?
Why are you guys laughing?
Because Craig's classic 95.7 is coming in loud and clear through my earphones. Yeah. You guys don't hear it? You guys
I don't hear it now. Yeah.
It's gone away now. Yeah. It's wherever Craig places his microphone.
Unless it's like not some rival to Sirius XM, we should be okay. If it is, we could be in trouble. Possibly.
It's true.
Jimmy, do you have a big question, the biggest question that Jesse Marsch needs to answer before the World Cup?
Yeah, I have a few. So the first one I'm going to start. Yeah, it's called football knowledge, Dubs.
Lay it on me, Jimmy.
One I'm going to say the partnership in the middle of the park, right? We know that Eustáquio is going to be in there, but who's going to play alongside him? You know, Saliba has been playing very good at the moment. Yeah, it's unfortunate he's in Montreal right now that are having a terrible time, but he's still showing what he can do, and he's gaining interest from Europe as well. Anderlecht apparently are looking at him and want to sign him, which would be a brilliant move for him. I mean, our good friend Thomas Rosiński played there as well, and then eventually got his move into the Premier League with Everton. That's going to be a huge decision for Jesse Marsch in my eyes, because obviously that's the engine, and who's going to be the partnership. We saw Schwanier as well. He stepped in. He did a hell of a job with Eustáquio in the middle of the park. Saliba, we saw the other night, looked very, very good, and we know what Coney can do. So, and Oso is going to be on the cusp as well. Oso's getting a little bit older now. He's saying it as well. As you know, his legs might be going just a little bit, but he'll be hanging on because he wants to be part of the squad in the World Cup. So that's going to be an interesting dynamic for me. Is who's going to be the midfield players.
We got depth in all positions. Really, it's fantastic.
Showing to the screen a headline: Belgian giants Anderlecht want to sign Canada midfielder Nico Sigur. Okay, so there are reports that is Anderlecht as well. Who else, Jimmy? Who else?
No, there's not, Dubs. No, not Dubs. Like,
who else?
Such a big move.
So that's
so dismissive for no reason.
You know what the trouble is? The trouble here is when Jimmy and Dubs spend too much time together on the weekend, they can only spend a certain amount of time together before they start hating each other.
Is that it?
You asked me a question. I'm trying to tell my questions. You're just talking over me. I'm like, let me just speak. You do it all the time. Let me talk. Oh my God.
So awkward.
I gotta go for a coffee.
Jimmy, answer. Okay, so what if it's not Anderlecht? What other clubs are interested that you know of?
No one. Let's just go to the next question. Fucking hell.
Okay, let's keep this going. Little birds in their nests. All right, Dubs. What is the biggest question that Jesse Marsch has to answer?
For me, I was actually listening. So the train on the way back home yesterday, trying to sleep off the night before, but then also trying to do a little bit of work. And then I listened to our pod last year, because some of us do listen back to our work, from June 21st, 2024. And it was just after our men's national team lost 2-0 to Argentina. So there were lots of positives to pull away, right? Lots of takeaways, I think, in the pro column, but there were also some negatives. And one of the things that we kept referring back to, all of us together, was that there was a lack of depth argument and an issue after you got to player 13 or 14. Now, a year out or a year past where we were. So much has changed. There's been an evolution. They've ridden out some ebbs and flows, but I think now there's this burgeoning group of talented, youthful players where now Jesse Marsch's issue is a big question, I think, a year out from now will be, what does he lean on to round out his roster? I think you've got players where you've got that solid doubling up of positions. There's going to be in-house competition for not only who's getting called into camp, who's going to be named to that final World Cup roster, but who's going to be a nailed-on starter. I think you still do have players that are absolutely in there. There's no discussion, injuries or otherwise. But players coming back from injuries, whether you're talking about Bambito or Davies, obviously they're in there regardless. But like a Liam Miller is somebody who's going to be in discussion as well, right? When he finally comes back in, you've got an incredible amount of depth across that front line now. You've got, Jimmy mentioned the midfield duo. Who's that tandem going to be next to Eustáquio? Eustáquio is 100% going to be in there, but who is it going to be? We haven't even talked about Metzer-Chouanière, who I think gives you something to lean on. His special quality is Canada is a better set piece team when he is on the service. So, I mean, those are arguments for him. So I think it's Jesse Marsch. Like, who do you prioritize to round out your roster? Is it set pieces? Is it versatility, like a Nico Seeger, who could play at fullback, but can also move into the heart of the midfield? Is it leadership experience? And then the other thing is looking at this kind of the heavy hitting Gold Cup roster, looking at players who have World Cup experience from Qatar. And then projecting forward to next year, I think there's maybe about a dozen players, if I'm not mistaken, that were part of that World Cup roster. So headaches for Marsch, but really, really good ones, right? When you look ahead and you know that he's gone out, he's done the work to get these dual nationals. They've performed well enough so that Canada is a really attractive place to come. Like when you talk about Gabe Biancheri, right? He can go play for Wales, he can play for England, he can play for Italy, but Canada might be at the top of the list for where he's considering playing his international football. So really exciting times, I think, for sure.
It's still not confirmed whether it's 23-man squads or 26-man squads.
Oh,
right? The thought was it's 23, but now there's more conversation that they might keep it at 26.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll ask you this, Dubs. Wouldn't you think, I mean, these dual nationalities or national players that could play for Canada and play for somebody else, they're popping up from time to time as we go along here. When is the time when Jesse says, okay, we've got to look at the squad that we have right now. We like what we have, and this is it. And you start to believe in those group of players, and you just say, "This is we've got our squad now, and for now, we're just going to stay with it." When does he decide to do that?
Well, I think the direction that he's headed in and what he's prioritizing is basically with that Gold Cup roster. That to me is very much, that's the bones of what the World Cup roster is going to look like. And there's going to be a little bit of movement, but it's going to be on the fringe. So there's 5 windows left, right? So I think he's doing that now. There are still some players. I think I mentioned Biancheri. I think for sure he would be in that discussion for not just a training player, but if it's a 26 player roster, I think for sure he might be in there if that's, you know, if Canada is who he wants to play for. But I think you're right. I think at this point, that's no longer your priority. Your priority are the guys who are in front of you, who are committed to this program and who are going to be who you're leaning heavily on in order to get success.
But it's possible
I
that
asked about Biancheri, and he said he likes him a lot, but the only issue is he's still young. He's raw. Yeah. So is he the type of player that will come into the squad right now? No. He'll put him probably, he would like to get him in the younger age groups, get him training there. And in the next few years, once he starts getting first team experience, then I think he'll be ready for it. But he's a massive talent. I mean, the guy the kid can score goals for fun, and Man U's very, very high on this kid. So just for him to be in camp is a real treat for Jesse Marsch and the Canadian squad, that's for sure.
New season August, right? Though players can still play themselves into contention with a great season. Promise David was known before this past season, and obviously could have played for Nigeria as well. But it was this breakthrough campaign that we all began to watch. Promise David this last season, right?
Yeah.
So there could be someone out there.